All right, Niners versus the Hawks this weekend. We're going to get right into it right now. It's just been a phenomenal season for the Niners. 13-4. They get to face Pete Carroll this weekend, get to extinguish some of their past ghosts. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. I have no idea what to expect from the rookie quarterback. I know he's played really well lately. I was thinking about it last night. It wasn't just watching Stetson Bennett play for Georgia that made me think about Purdy. It was just thinking about the Jimmy Garoppolo rise in the 5-game stretch in 2017. And I'm thinking to myself, like, man, Jimmy did play really good in those 2017 5 games. Maybe I'm being a little too prisoner of the moment on Brock Purdy. Maybe he falls down to earth. Like, even the great quarterbacks, Mahomes, Brady, pick whoever you want, Josh Allen. They have clunkers. They have stinkers. A part of me almost wished that he had a clunker heading into the playoffs to get it off his resume.
Right.
Because I'm fearful that the clunker might show up against an all-time legend defensive coordinator in Pete Carroll.
Well, in terms of the team having a clunker, that Raider game, if it's anybody besides the Raiders, they probably lose. Right, I wouldn't say anybody besides the Raiders, but they had a good chance to lose that game. So you almost got and I get it, losing. Winning is different than losing, even if you got really close to losing. But that was the closest they got while they've been on this stretch. Brock Purdy, to me, I think I hear where you're coming from. I just don't know what the stinker looks like.
That's what I'm saying.
Because of what he's asked to do.
Yeah.
He's not asked to fling the football around all across the field, so he's not really put in positions. Now, he's thrown a couple balls that could have been intercepted.
Absolutely.
He's thrown balls that have been intercepted. But in terms of just a complete implosion, because they're not asking him to do that much in terms of, okay, you got to go 20 yards this way, 20 yards that way, and they have a solid running game, that's what makes me feel like the dud might not be as duddy as you might be afraid of or fearful of. And at the end of the day, you got Christian McCaffrey.
I know.
That dude's always open somewhere.
He's a game changer.
He's open somewhere.
He's an absolute game changer. I was thinking about the NFL windows and how things changed so dramatically. Like last year, the LA Rams, it felt like they were going to have a 2 or 3 minimum year run with Stafford and Donald and McVay and Cooper Kupp. I mean, Jalen Ramsey. There are 4 or 5 of the best players in the NFL.
Right.
Right? Like, whatever you think about Stafford, he's another polarizing player. He's a very good player. I think most people would agree. I look at the 49ers, and it feels like they've got a 3, 4, 5-year window, but you just never know.
Yeah.
Things happen so quick. Last time they played Seattle, Bowman was Defensive Player of the Year in my eyes. Broke his leg, was never the same.
Yeah.
Tore his ACL, his MCL. I mean, horrible. Mike Iupati was a Pro Bowler guard. Broke his leg. Never was the same. All in that game. Frank Gore started to show decline after that game. Colin Kaepernick never really truly captured that magic. What I'm getting at is the windows are so tight.
Yeah.
We think they're bigger than they are. They have a great opportunity this year. And I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. I want to just enjoy week to week each playoff moment. But they do really have a great opportunity here to win a Super Bowl.
They do. They do. And I know, we're talking about the Niners, but even the team they're playing, Seattle. Everybody thinks these with the Legion of Boom, they're going to be good for years. One thing happens and the whole situation changes. So
great point.
And I think going back to the Niners now, that's why it's hard to not say, and I know it's that term. I love my overused sports terms. The term would be, obviously, Super Bowl or bust.
Is that where you're at?
Because of how the windows are, I feel like that's how you have to be.
Like each year is Super Bowl or bust.
If you look at, okay, you don't have the QB, and the QB would have been who? Trey Lance, or some people think Jimmy Garoppolo.
Who knows?
Yeah, but you have every other position ready to go. All of your skill positions are ready to go. Your defensive line, all of your big hitters.
Yeah.
The chances of that happening next season and the season after that, all of the guys, not just we have everybody.
Health,
exactly.
Home field
We have everybody,
essentially.
but Nick Bosa's out.
Yeah.
We have everybody, but Debo's out.
Armstead's out.
You kind of missed fire with Debo. We thought Debo was done. You've kind of been able to navigate these things. So unfortunately, even though it is Brock Purdy's rookie season, you have to think like that because, all right, you might get to the Super Bowl next season with Trey Lance balling. You might get to the Super Bowl next year with Brock Purdy balling. But the chances of everything fitting together the way it's fit together right now are low.
Yeah, no, it's a great point. Alan Stiles is basically saying, and Bonte's echoed these sentiments as well. Bonte's out right now. He's not feeling too well. Rest up, buddy. I miss you. I love you. But I think he's right there with you. He feels like, hey, I think anything less than NFC Championship game, Super Bowl is a big, big disappointment. I think he's in the camp of Super Bowl or bust. Me, I'm just not ready to go there because I know how difficult it is to win playoff games. I mean, the Niners had a 14-2 season one year and lost to the Green Bay Packers in the divisional round and got their butts kicked and didn't even belong on the field with the Green Bay Packers in 1995, for example. That's just one. We've seen Denver blow a great season with 15-1 season with John Elway, lose to the Jaguars right out the gate. It happens. Every single year is its own little entity, and there's really not much carryover. Now, when you have a great Patrick Mahomes, that's an outlier. You can be really good for a long period of time. We don't know what Brock Purdy is. And to your point on the health, they feel like the most healthy team heading into the playoffs. You got Debo with the zero mileage, if you look at the numbers, and not a lot of wear and tear for this year. Can he have a bust-out game moving forward? Is it this game? Do you wait for him for the second game? What Shanahan got cooked up for him? CMC. He sure as hell looks fresh.
Yeah.
You know, this is a guy who's been injured a lot in his career. You've taken advantage of him staying healthy right now. Ayuk, I hope Ayuk gets re-signed. He might be on the move. Who knows? Maybe they don't re-sign. Maybe they can't afford him. I don't know. So you look at this weaponry, George. Kittle looks healthy and balling right now. Offensive line has cohesion. This is a great opportunity. But the playoffs are so hard.
They are.
They're so hard.
And I guess when I say Super Bowl or bust, it's not that, I'm going to be this upset or ticked off if they don't do it. It's just that with this window you have, and you've been in the mix right last year with the situation with the interception that wasn't, you got to get one of these. You're not going to have this group forever, and you don't know how much longer you're going to have them.
Yeah.
You got to get one of these if you're going to get them. Shanahan. That's just what it is. So it's Super Bowl or bust because of the core that you have.
Yeah. I mean, I just think it's so difficult to win championships and playoff games. Like, the margins are so razor thin. Just so razor thin. Look at Belichick's career. How many crazy AFC championship games did they win on a last possession or, you know, a defensive stop or whatever it is? I remember the one year the Baltimore got called for a defensive pass interference in the end zone, and boom, next thing you know, it's 1st and goal from the 1 with 30 seconds to go, and Gronk gets a touchdown. Like, things can happen in these playoff games, and that's why I'm worried, because Seattle never plays a normal game. Now, on paper, the Niners should blow Seattle out. I think they're the superior team. It's going to be raining, wet field conditions, the kid's first ever playoff start, right? What's Shanahan's confidence level in terms of opening up the offense because of the weather, because of the kid being so young? You know, what is there an injury that might happen during the game? Like, I'm looking at the secondary. If I was looking for a recipe that would really worry me right now, 49ers secondary can be beat over the top. These are two great wide receivers in Lockett and DK. So I don't know. I'm really worried about this matchup. They should win on paper. So for me to like get all the way to Super Bowl, I'm just focused on Seattle.
And that's fine. You have to take it week by week, but at the same time, ultimately, you have going into this season. This was the whole reason people didn't know about Trey Lance, because you had the Super Bowl roster. You had that from Jump Street, so you have to cash in on this Super Bowl roster at some point. I think to your point about the weather, it's interesting. I'm curious what people think, because could the weather actually, do you want it more rainy? Because we know that the Seahawks, they want to run the football. We also know that the Niners have the #1 run defense, right? And that's how Geno Smith hasn't been able to really get going against this team in the past games.
Yeah.
So if it's raining, are you really looking at the offense that the Niners have? I think this could be a great opportunity. #1, you have McCaffrey, so you have dump offs, and you don't have to really worry about the rain and flinging the football. Could be a very quiet game for Ayuk. You have McCaffrey, and who else do you have you can dump off to? Debo.
And you got Elijah Mitchell in the run
and you got
game
Elijah
back,
Mitchell,
which can really help him. I think that was one of the big things that I was encouraged with, was seeing Elijah Mitchell get back there and run, because having that 2-man attack, and then Jordan Mason as your bowling ball guy, kind of to lean on people in the fourth quarter. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. These division games are different.
No,
they're
that's
weird.
True. That's true.
It's a rivalry.
But Geno's been trying to throw that thing all over the field, and if it's raining the way it might be raining, that could help the Niners in that way. And look, the whole and I tweeted this last night as well, because this is similar. If you really want to go glass half empty, this is similar to what happened with the Rams last season.
Well, am I being glass half empty, or am I just trying to be realistic and give respect to Seattle?
No. Well, on paper, Seattle shouldn't have a shot.
I agree with
that.
On
paper,
but see, The game's not played on paper.
Yeah, and on paper, Seattle shouldn't even be here.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
I get all that.
Yes.
I'm just saying, when you look at the Niners and the team that they have, they're just better in all facets of the game. Now, there are equalizers, but I also think that the equalizers also help the Niners.
Yes.
Because if it was pristine conditions, I would actually be more worried about Deommodore Lenoir getting toasted than I am.
That's a good point.
In the rain and things like that. So you can look at it a couple different ways. I will say this about Elijah Mitchell that you brought up. I don't know what it is about that guy. When he hits the line of scrimmage, it's as if he's already been running for 10 yards.
He's cannonball.
He hits that thing hard,
I love
man.
that kid.
So you don't like getting hit in the rain. The Seahawks, I don't think they're going to be happy to be here, but let's be honest, they're ahead of schedule.
Yes.
So that's why anything can happen. But I think that even with the weirdness that could happen, you could say that weirdness should help the Niners. Now, will it? I don't know.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM and HD1 San Francisco, always live on the free Odyssey app. Download the Odyssey app and favorite 95.7 The Game for the best and most up-to-date coverage. And don't forget, you can also watch us every day on your YouTube or Twitch streams. Just log on and search 95.7 The Game. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel while you're there. I see YouTube. It's humming right now. Thank you, guys. Yes, my family, we've done talking about Brandon Belt. We're going to get into the NFL. We're talking about rivalries. This is awesome. I'm here for it. We got Baldy coming up in 30 minutes. All right, Brian Baldinger is going to break down the 49ers in 30 minutes. We'll ask him all of your questions. If you got them, hit us up on the Xfinity mobile text line. I'll give you the number, 888-957-9570. How many people right now are waking up saying, this is the Niners' best chance to win a Super Bowl of the 3 playoff runs they've had with Shanahan? How many people you think are thinking that? 888-957-9570. Is this their best chance? Look around. Look around at who else is available in the NFC, who's healthy. I fear the Eagles. I respect the Eagles. I think they're a really, really, really good team. I think it'll be a colossal matchup if the Niners and Eagles can get to face each other. Do you really fear the Vikings? Do you really fear Seattle this weekend? Do you fear Tampa Bay? You know, I don't know where people's minds are at. I just look at this Niner offense. This is the best I felt about this offense in the 3 years that they've been together in the playoffs, making a deep run. And I think it's because of Brock Purdy, which is a crazy sentence to say out loud. And then I look at the defense, and I think the front seven's really good. I just worry about the back end of the secondary, but I think I had similar worries heading into 19 and heading into 2021 playoffs.
Yeah, and when you think about the quarterbacks that have given the Niners trouble, we know it's not even necessarily Lamar Jacksons of the world. It's just guys that can evade pressure, and sure, they can run a little bit. Jarrett Stidham is a great example.
Yes.
Because you had no tape on him. He comes out, he's running around like he's back at Auburn. He's doing a lot of different things, and what happens is when you can extend plays, that secondary has, and that's every team, by the way.
Yeah.
But as you can extend plays, that secondary has to defend for longer, and you could get toasted a little bit. That's why the Eagles do worry me the most out of the NFC. Now, with that being said, every time I looked up on Sunday, and I know he's getting the rest off, Jalen Hurts was overthrowing A.J. Brown. Every time I looked up.
He looked off.
He looked off. Yeah. So he'll probably be right by the time, if they do face each other. To your point, Vikings, no. And when you're talking about, is this the best chance? Vikings, fraudulent. Cowboys are the Cowboys.
Are they fraudulent?
They are, though.
Why?
The Vikings?
I mean, look, to say you're a fraud would be like you're a 10-6 team or a 9-8 team. I always get the numbers all mixed up now. Like they are, like they're a good team.
They're a good
team. Championship like level roster.
Are you worried about going? Okay, you don't have to, but when it was Niners,
I am worried about Justin Jefferson.
But when it was Niners 3, Vikings 2, were you worried about going to Minnesota?
No, because well, that's more of a byproduct of this team. I believe of all the Niner eras, this is probably the most suited to go on the road and win tough road playoff games. But when I look at what they have personnel-wise, the Vikings versus the 49ers, Justin Jefferson, I'm so scared. And the fact that it feels like they're never out of games. Like, I know I watched Dalvin Cook tap out of a playoff game at Levi's. We know Kirk Cousins. Everybody says what he can't do. What he does do is throw the ball all over the place. Well, and I worry about a team like that because I'm looking at the Achilles heel for the Niners, right? The issues. If I was going to identify what are some of the issues on this team, the secondary. Deommodore Lenoir. Do we trust him? He's had a decent year for a young guy. But I would much rather have Mosley there. I think Mosley's a more complete player. Hufanga has been out of position how many times early. I love him. I love him. He's a young player. He jumps a lot. I look at Charvarius Ward. He has gotten into these one-on-one scuffles, and I just worry that the flags start getting thrown out. You give some free 15-yard penalties. Like that back end of the secondary scares me. Then I look at the quarterback. He's played great. I am fearful, and I would say the same thing if Mahomes was the quarterback, because I watched Mahomes turn it over 3 times in the second half. A clunker is coming. Can they overcome that offensively? I don't know. I haven't seen them do it yet with Brock.
But again, the clunker for Brock, a clunker for Brock would have to be just an awful misthrow or something that was schemed. And
a situational misthrow? Okay.
Because he's not a gunslinger. He's not Josh Allen. I'm going to throw off my back foot. He's not Mahomes. He's not doing all that, so he's not going to be put in those positions. Like, his ceiling isn't as high, but his basement isn't as low. I talked about the basement in the post game. Okay, his basement is a nice basement. It's got a PS5. It's got Totino's pizza rolls. It's got a lot of things in the basement. It's not the same as other basements. The Josh Allen basement is pretty gross. Now that ceiling is ridiculous. It's a penthouse, but that basement is pretty nasty. So I think that's why the clunker for me, specifically with this defense, would still have a great chance for the Niners to win. It wouldn't be he wouldn't be selling at all.
Yeah.
He wouldn't be selling at all.
When he's been scared in past of Jimmy Garoppolo's play in the playoffs, Kyle Shanahan has told us as the play caller, he'll just hand the ball off, right? Like that's what we've seen. And I do think they're more suited now to be able to run even more with a variety of different personnels. Last year it was just Debo. I mean, they were so hurt. Elijah was banged up. They were handing the ball off to Juice with the season on the line, right?
Yeah.
We all love Juice, but it's not who I'm trying to get the ball to with the season on the line. It feels like Kittle's playing his best ball of his career right now. I think that's what it feels like. Ayuk, best ball of his career. They've got so many great playmakers playing such great ball right now. They can overcome, because of the schematics and what I think so highly of Kyle Shanahan and the X's and O's, I think they can get away with the quarterback looking a little shaky.
Exactly.
And they've done that before. Here's the area that I'm looking at and I'm saying the last 3 weeks, stopping the run has been a problem. You referenced the Raider game. Josh Jacobs ran all over them. Could Kenneth Walker do something similar and open up the play-action game? Because that's an area no one's giving a lot of credit to in terms of the Niners. They've given up runs lately.
They have, and I guess, and it's a good point that you say lately, because I was going to say, well, they didn't let Kenneth Walker get loose in the first couple.
No, that was a tight game too.
Well, exactly, and I think the Niners are going to do, even though Geno has had a great year, and we're happy for him. I think the Niners will still say, if we're going to lose, it's going to be because Geno Smith threw for 350 yards. We're going to stack the box.
That's what you think the game plan would be?
Because they want to work off of the run. So if the run never gets going, and now hopefully the Niners get a couple scores up, get one, you're up 10-0. Now Geno has to spin that thing all over the field, but now Nick Bosa and those boys get to pin their ears back because they know Geno's throwing. That's what the Niners want to do.
Yeah.
Now, what can happen is, to your point, if Kenneth Walker does bust one early and he gets to the house, that changes everything, because now the Seahawks can work off of different things. So the first quarter is really going to just lay a theme for the rest of this game. And look, DeMeco Ryans, we know his name is all over the NFL world.
I know.
Earn your money then, dog.
Well, I get scared that the coaches I have tremendous respect for their professionalism, but it's impossible from the human element not to be a little distracted.
Yeah,
if your name's all over the place.
Yeah, but just think.
And I'm not trying to knock his professionalism.
No,
I'm just saying,
it's just human. It's just human.
Exactly.
It's just human. But I think that he already knows he's a hot name. You know what makes you a hotter name? A Super Bowl.
I'm totally with you.
And then you can kind of pick wherever you want to go. So I think he's definitely sold in, and he wants to get one. So I think he'll be all right.